how businesses like yours are hoping to make use of the expanded vaccine policy that the government announced yesterday, where they have permitted private sector sales, or let me put it this way, open market sales by vaccine producers. Now, I understand there might not be spare capacity right now, but the hope is that that will get built out over the next 2-3 months. Broad, big picture level view on how you think this will move from here on?
So big picture level, there are, I would say, three focus areas. One is as CII, we will work with the government, and we are part of the government's task force for this as well, to think through what are the rules for imports. Who does that? What is the pricing mechanism? Are there some short time tests that need to be done? But to see by and large, how can these be available? Because those vaccines which have been now used for over 150 million people are safe, as we know, as safe as any of them can be right now. So we should know very soon, I believe, from the government, the path forward there. And as industry then, and including as individual companies, we will see how to leverage our own strengths in procuring the same. The second is in the distribution of this. And this is where, now that the government has announced it, we'll again see, are there any rules from the central government, from the state government? Even the vaccine manufacturers are waiting for that before they announce their pricing and availability of supplies. And we have to do what is right, not just for our own employees, but for our community and overall as one India. So our responsibility, of course, is there to our own employees, but also to our local communities. And that's the practical way in spreading vaccination. So many of us have our CSR funds available. We hope that we can use that also for the larger community. For example, I know a number of large companies, and as Bajaj, even though FinServ, we are a financial services company, we've got approval for setting up a vaccination center in one of our offices in Pune, because we employ over 8,000 people in Pune. And that's going to go live any day. So it gets ready for the 18 plus, or at least the 25 plus workforce that so many of us have. So there are a number of initiatives where pre-work has already happened. And as the rules come out clearly, and I hope they come out soon, then we can start acting on each one of these.
Okay, since these were recommendations that went from CII, and I'm sure other bodies have also recommended the opening up of supply of vaccines and the enhancement of capacity within the country, because we are, after all, one of the largest vaccine producers in the world. I do want to ask you a little bit about the skepticism on whether this will amount to, just, how do I put it, maybe only a certain level of layers within, private life being able to access these vaccines. So there's a lot of concern right now saying if states are short of funds, which they are, they're not going to be able to fund a vaccine rollout for the poorer sections of the economy of the country, whilst corporates might actually be able to spend on their employees. So what happens to the people who get lost in between?
So Manika, first, every life vaccinated is a life saved. It's probably not a life saved, but it is multiple lives saved in that family, and as those people meet other people. We are, in India, not only the largest vaccine manufacturers in the world, but the lowest cost. And with the government giving those advances to the two large companies, they have their lead times, but we will see capacity increase in India itself, which will be available to everybody through central, through state governments, to the private sector. Now, what we are talking about is beyond that. What's available in terms of imported vaccines, many of them are more expensive. Not all of them will be that much more expensive, but yes, some of the American ones are. Now, we have an option not to get them, and they won't be available to anyone. Or we get them, and it acts as an addition to everything else that we are doing. And I think that's the right balance, because it is our joint responsibility to save every life. Keep in mind that in our businesses, most of our employees are all middle class, lower middle class employees. They're not super rich people all sitting over there. We owe it to them, we owe it to their families, and we owe it to our communities around as well. So I believe that this is the right decision to take, because it has an additive effect. It does not have a replacement effect as far as the availability and the administration of the total capacity of vaccines is concerned.
Okay. So far as my reading of the CSR law is, I don't know whether you are currently allowed to move CSR money towards vaccination of people. I don't know what your reading is, but do you think that if you can do that as businesses, that you might be able to go just beyond employees and look at maybe entire communities in and around those businesses?
So that's one of the suggestions CII we have given, and we are working with the government, that this is a time of emergency. This is a time where every single rupee that we have must be spent in the right manner towards this pandemic. And so in normal times, maybe you would not allow this, but in a time like this, we should allow, because those spends can then be diverted to controlling the current pandemic rather than building a particular institution for the future. Those are also important. But at this point of time, we have to do what's the need of the current hour. So we have made those recommendations. I hope that they will be accepted.